In this video presentation, I want to consider the same data set that we considered earlier for case study 2. The data set is given here, and we observed that the data showed a quadratic trend. So in the previous video, I demonstrated how we could use the formula that we developed for least squared parameter estimates to come up with the constants A0, A1, and A2 using this kind of a command. And I also commented that we would be able to get the same results using polyfit command in MATLAB. In this particular video, I want to introduce to you a tool called Stepwise. It's a very powerful tool that can help us do linear regression. It is not only mathematical in nature, it has a lot of statistical aspects, and unfortunately the scope of this course prevents us from delving deep into the statistical details. So I'll just introduce the tool to you and I'll show where to look for certain pieces of information. How do you know that the model is good? Things like that. I will not go deep into the statistical aspects, but please understand that the stepwise tool that I'm going to introduce is very, very powerful. So when you later on do a course in statistics, or if you have done a course in statistics already, then you can get into those statistical aspects, hypothesis testing, stuff like that. All right, but let's take the same data set. So I have a new M file here, which is stepwise demo.m. It has already been shared with you. I'm just going through that file, the contents of it again. Now, so as usual, I open up the M file using this statement clear all and close all to make sure that all variables in the workspace are cleared up and any figure windows that are open remains closed, at least after this line is executed. This is the data, right? 0 in steps of 1 colon 5 that reflects the x values that we have in the experimental data set and the corresponding y values that you see here. Those two are pretty standard lines of code. Now let us say that we looked at the data trend and we thought that we should try a cubic model. So I'm proposing a model of this type: a0 plus a1x plus a2x squared plus a3x cubed. Some of these terms may be important, some of these terms may not be important. For example, I do not know if this cubic term is needed. So what I do here is I hypothesize a model, a reasonably complex model, and then the stepwise tool will tell us whether to include a term or not include a term. First of all, to get there, we have to create the big X matrix. So the big X matrix is going to be x, x squared, and x cubed. We do not have a column of ones here because the stepwise tool will already incorporate that A0 parameter. So in our big X matrix, we do not have to bother about the column of ones. Stepwise tool will automatically do it internally and it will give us the A0 values. Now, therefore, we need to have columns in big X matrix that will help us find out A1, A2, and A3. Therefore, we should have a column of X in the big X matrix. We should have a column of X squared in the big X matrix, and we should have a column of X cubed in the big X matrix to conform with the model that we have proposed. So the big X matrix equals X space X dot power 2 space X dot power 3. So the big X matrix in this case will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second column will be 0, 1 squared 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25. And now 0 cube is going to be 0, 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8, 3 cube is 27, 4 cube is 64, and 5 cube is 125. So at this point in time, the X matrix, the big X matrix will comprise these numbers inside that. In any case, to get the big X matrix, we have a column comprising of X values, the measurements that we note from the data set. We have a column where X measurements are squared, and we have a column where the X measurements are cubed or raised to the power of 3 and then incorporated as a column. So I hope you understand this is going to be the big X matrix here. So now that the big X matrix is ready and we already have the Y vector, we are in a position to call stepwise, and we say stepwise X comma Y. So the X matrix comes first, the Y vector comes next. So as soon as this line of code is executed by MATLAB, it will open up a graphics window, and this is what you will see in that graphics window. Now the key points to look at is the suggestion that the tool tells us. It tells us move x2 in. That means move the second column of the X matrix in. That means it thinks that the term is very, very important. So the second column of X matrix is nothing but X squared. So according to this tool, the X squared term, this term in the model is deemed to be very, very important. Therefore, it is asking us to move it in. So what we'll do is we will move the cursor to this graphics window and click on this red dot that you see here associated with X2. So if you click on that, it will become blue in color. That means it has been included in the model. Anything that is red in color here, right, means that has not been included in the model yet. So the moment it says move X2 in, I take my cursor and click on this dot that you see there. What will happen is it will change into blue color, which means it is included in the model. At this point in time, I will present a zoomed up shot of what you see on this particular slide. So what you see here is exactly the same thing. And I just want to make a few comments on this. One is this is what we saw, right? It suggests that x2 variable has to be moved in. That means the second column of the big X matrix, right? So that is suggested to be brought into the model. So keep that in mind. And we note that x1 denotes x because that's the first column of the big X matrix. X2 is the second column of the big X matrix, which stands for X squared, and X3 denotes the third column of the big X matrix, which is the cubic term in the model. So that is what these things stand for. So X1 is the same as X, X2 is the same as X squared, and X3 is the same as X cubed. Now you have to look for a few other things. One is we look at these measures called R squared and R squared adjusted. So this is R squared, this is called adjusted R squared. Basically, R squared can take a value between 0 to 1. If R squared is close to 1, it means that the model is good. That means the Y data is being captured very well by the model. A value of R squared close to 0 indicates that the model is very poor in capturing the trends in the Y data. That means the model is not good. So our general tendency is to prefer models that have a value of R squared that is high enough and close to 1. So in industrial data sets, even R squared of 0.6 or 0.7 is deemed to be good. So if you get some values like 0.9 or 0.95, that is usually very unrealistic, but that is a very, very happy situation. But this R squared measure that has been outlined here has got one problem with it. That means if you just increase the complexity of your model by including some complex terms, the R squared value will go up, leading you to believe that the model is very good. So it can inflate the actual goodness of your model. So what researchers have done is they have adjusted this R squared value to come up with a metric called adjusted R squared. The adjusted R squared adjusts R squared for complexity. So if the model is unnecessarily complex, the adjusted R squared value will go down. So to be honest, adjusted R squared is a better measure for us to look at than R squared. So R squared basically tells us how good the fit is. Adjusted R squared tells us how the model will perform when it is presented with new data. So it's a more realistic estimate of how good the model is. This R squared adjusted or adjusted R squared also has a range between 0 to 1, 1 meaning it is extremely good and 0 meaning it is extremely bad. So always try to take a look at these R squared and adjusted R squared values with more importance to adjusted R squared. The other thing that you may want to look at is this intercept value, right? This is the A naught value, the constant term in the model. We also want to look for RMSE value, right? This RMSE value is related to the sum of squared errors. Remember the symbol J that we were trying to minimize? So this RMSE is root mean squared error. That means you take the sum of squared error and you divide it by the number of samples minus the number of parameters and you take the square root of it. So SSE by n minus p is the sum of squares divided by what is called the degrees of freedom. So you had n data points and out of that you have estimated p parameters. So the degrees of freedom is supposed to be n minus p. So this is why the statistics is very important for it. So SSE by n minus p is called MSE. And if you take the square root of MSE, you get RMSE. So a small RMSE means a smaller MSE, which means a smaller SSE. So this is also one place that we need to look at. I just spoke about on the things we look for in this graphics window. So now it says move X2 in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cursor and click on this red dot related to X2. When I do that, you will see the following screen. And I've added some of my annotation to it. As of now, it says move no terms. That means it says there is nothing more to recommend. There is no other good term to include in the model. Just including this X2 or X squared is good enough. And you can see that it has changed to blue color. That means it is included in the model. And then the value of the parameter related to X squared or X2 is 2.29547. So that is A2. All right. It basically says A1 is like 0. It says A3 is like 0. Only A2 times X squared is important. That's what it says. And if you look at R squared and adjusted R squared, these values are obscenely high. They are almost close to 1. So this is a good thing. And if you look at this intercept, the intercept value is 4.39151. That means A naught is 4.39151. So we have got A naught, we have got A2. What this tool tells us is this A1x1, that is A1x, and A3x3, which is A3x cube, those terms are not fit to be included in the model. If you include them, they are coming in only for a free ride. They are not going to contribute anything to the predictability of Y. So using all these kinds of things, we can say that the best model or an adequate model for this data is Y is equal to A naught, which is 4.39151 plus 2.29547 X2, and X2 is X squared. So this is the model we come up with for that data set. The other terms are statistically insignificant. Stepwise tool says don't include any more terms. The constant term and the quadratic term are enough. But let's say I go and click on this red dot that corresponds to x1, that means it corresponds to x. So when I click on that, right, that means I overrule the recommendation of stepwise, it turns into blue. And what happens is there is probably a very slight increase in R squared value. Can you see that from 0.995, it has increased to 0.998. That is a very small increase, 0.003. That is almost insignificant, right? Considering there are uncertainties in the data with respect to noise, etc., etc. So there is a very small increase in R squared. And if you look at R squared adjusted, also there is a small increase of 0.003 units. So it's your choice whether you want to include it or not. I would not include it. Anything that does not contribute to R squared increase of more than 0.05 or zero point 0.1, I would probably not include it in the model. So this is the model that you can get if you include the linear term as well. That means if you include the A1x term as well. Now the intercept is 2.47857. So that's A naught. A1 is 2.35929 times x1, and x1 is just x, plus 1.86071 x2, which is x squared. So this is the model at this stage. This model is slightly over parameterized because the x1 term or the x term, this term was not really important. But if you wanted to have that, then what happens is you will get this model, and you can see there is a difference in the coefficient of x squared because of this inclusion of this linear term in the model. The coefficient of x squared changes. So this model is good, but from a practitioner's point of view or even a purist point of view, this A1x term is deemed unimportant. All right, there are things we can talk about, p-values, etc. If this p-value is more than 0.05, that's considered to be an insignificant term. So this is clearly insignificant because its value is 0.6842 and it is substantially larger than 0.05. This is a significant term in the model because its p-value is lesser than 0.05. So this p-value is not very much bigger compared to 0.05, but nevertheless it is bigger. So this A1x term is like in a gray area. So those of you who have done a course on statistics will probably appreciate this p-value and stuff like that. Okay, so if you include the linear term, you get this model with these measures, right? The RMSE value is 1.11. whereas in the previous case without the linear term, the RMSE is 1.68. So if you include extra term in the model, that means if you increase the complexity of the model, we see that the RMSE falls. The R squared rises. But the good thing here is R squared adjusted also rose up a little bit. Okay, so it's not a very clear decision whether this linear term should be included or not included. So that is what gives freedom for the modeler to decide. Okay, tools can only help us, but the final decision making has to be done by the modeler or the experimenter. Now, if you include all terms in the model, what you see is, right, I'm including now x3 term as well, right? I'm just force including it in the model by going and clicking on that red dot here, and then you get these results. So what you see is now the R squared adjusted, right, actually falls from 0.997, it falls to 0.996, which is an indication that the x cube term is not a welcome term because it actually reduces adjusted R squared, even though by a very, very small margin. And if you look at the RMSE value actually increase from 1.117 to 1.298. So with bringing in this extra x cube term or the x3 term into the model, the RMSE value actually went higher. So all this indicates, along with this p-value of 0.6842, which is a high value, that means this term is not statistically significant. So what we are doing is, by including the x cube term, we are beginning to overfit the data. And there are clear warnings from this p-value, from the RMSE value and adjusted R squared value. They deteriorate, right? RMSE increases and R squared adjusted falls. These are signs of deterioration. So the x cube term is statistically insignificant. So do not include the x cube term. So the stepwise tool is very powerful, as you can see. You can put in a larger model, a complex model, and then stepwise tool will work on it and tell you which terms to include, which terms to not include, where to stop your modeling and things like that. And once you get the model, you can look at these coefficients, right? So I'm not writing out the y equation for this particular model because this term is insignificant and I've included it. That means these numbers for A1 and A2 and as well as for A0, they are not the best enough, right? So I'm not writing the y equation for this as much as I wrote for the previous two models. But if you wanted to write the y equation, you can say y is equal to 2.25 plus 3.39 times x plus 1.29 times x squared plus 0.075 times x cube. You can say that, but clearly there is overfitting. And when you're publishing research and when you're doing research, etc., overfitting is to be strictly avoided. So this tool stepwise helps us to do linear regression, and it can tell us when we are beginning to overfit the data. So this is an extremely powerful tool, and we will try using it in other examples as well. Thank you for your time.